I'd like to welcome y'all back to another episode of Beyond the Fear podcast, the place where y'all come for motivation, inspiration, uplifting, and an overall positive word. I'm your host, DJ, and today's episode is about a subject that we've talked about before, but I was having a conversation with one of my friends yesterday, and it just kind of sparked the idea. So I was like, why not revisit it? Because it to me is a very important thing, and that's everything. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and we have to go through those tough times to get to where we really want to go. Because like me and my friend were having a conversation, he was just like saying, why does bad things happen to good people? And I'm just like, what do you mean? Of course I had my thoughts, but I wanted to him to expound and explain in more detail what he was talking about. And he was just talking about like some of the things that he's kind of been going through. Like, even though he's been a good person, a positive person, a helping person, he's just been going through it with some of the people that he's been helping. And I was just like, you know and again, this is something that I'm just figuring out, but I was just like, we have to go through things. We got to go through those tough times to get to where we want to be. And he was like, well, what's the point of the tough times? And I was like, you got to learn. There's a lesson in these tough times. There's a reason why you're going through it. You gotta take a second to sit back and figure out why you're going through it. What caused you to go through this? And so, and as he sat back for a second and really thought about it, he started to realize one person was the common denominator in like the stuff that's been kind of going on with him like these past couple of weeks. And so when we got to talking about it, he realized, okay, maybe why the reason why I keep going through what I'm going through is because I keep trying to help this one person, and this one person has already shown me that they don't have my best, you know what I'm saying? That this person doesn't have the best of intentions, and doesn't really care about what happens to me or the backlash that I get from the stuff that they do. And I'm like, see, this is I was like, but this is what I'm talking about. This is why you got to go through these hard times. And you keep asking yourself, why do I keep going through these hard times? And honestly, in my opinion, is just because sometimes we're so focused on the hard time that we don't learn the lesson. We're so focused on woe is me, or why is this happening to me? I'm a good person. This isn't fair. God, why? You know what I'm saying? We so focused on that. We're so focused on the negative. We're so focused on what we're going through that we don't stop for a second and think, why am I going through this? Is this the same thing I've been going through for a couple of times or for a couple of months? Is it with the same person? Is it with different people? You know what I'm saying? We don't stop. If you take a second to just stop and assess the situation, you might be able to stop yourself from going through these hard times. And I feel like we go through hard times. We make our hard times harder because we don't learn the lesson, or we don't realize that there's a lesson to be learned. So we stay in those hard times way longer than we have to. And so, once him and I got to talking and, what I'm saying, just kind of going through all the scenarios and everything that was going on, he started to realize that there was a common denominator, and that person is probably the reason why all this bad stuff, not all of it, but some of the bad stuff that's been happening to him, has been related to that person. And I'm like, see, this is why we go through what we go through, because there's a lesson in there. You know what I'm saying? There's a lesson that God's trying to teach you. There's something that God's trying to show you, but because we're so focused on this situation and how bad it is, that we don't take the time to actually look for the lesson. We don't actually take time to find what it is that we need to learn, the teachings, the things like that. And so, sometimes you just got to take a step back, breathe, you know what I'm saying, and just look at your situation as a whole and figure out what it is that you need to learn from this situation so you don't have to go through it again. And he like, oh man, he like, so we got to talking or whatever. So as we getting off the phone, he like, bro, man, you so wise, da 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 da. And I'm like, bro, I'm just learning this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I done been through, I've been through a lot in these past 2 years. And one thing that I can say is once I started, once I quit looking at all of my negative things or my negative situations as negative situations, and I started looking at them as teaching opportunities, learning opportunities, and I started learning. Then I started to see myself start to progress, because I'm not going to sit here and tell you I've known that. You know what I'm saying? I've been in the same places you've been in, where I'm going through something and I feel like it's not fair, it's not right. I'm a good person, I'm being a good friend, I'm being a good employee, I'm being a good whatever. But so why is this happening to me? I've been focusing on the negative and focusing on the why me, and focusing on just focusing on the situation, instead of taking time to focus on the lesson, what I can learn from this, what I can take from this and turn into a positive. And so it just takes time. It takes you being able to change your perspective. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, that's the only reason I'm doing this podcast, because I was in a terrible space. I was working a terrible job. That job was paying me the most I've ever been paid, but I was probably the most unhappy I've ever been at a job. And out of that right there, going through that situation was enough to push me out of my comfort zone and allow me to grow enough and find enough courage to get in front of a camera and, start doing this. You know what I'm saying? Being in another bad, uncomfortable situation when I had to come back home, live with my mom, lost my relationship, all of those things. But I grew from that. I grew so much from that, because I learned about myself. I learned a lot of negative things. I started to see a lot of negative things about myself when I look back at the relationship. So, I've grown a lot from my negative times. Now I do my best to try to grow when hard times come. When I see hard times coming, and again, I'm not perfect, so I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I don't have those why me moments. I do, but the good thing about them is they're just moments now, instead of me just having that as my mindset. I have a moment and then I have to realize I have to snap out of it, because this is a chance for me to grow. This is an opportunity for me to grow. This is an opportunity for me to get better. And this is a story that I can tell going forward for people who go, because we all go through tough times. We're all going to go through tough times. We're all going to continue to go through tough times. You know what I'm saying? But you can have a better mindset while you're going through the tough times. You can tell yourself, hey, this is an opportunity to grow. This is an opportunity to learn. This is an opportunity to get ready to go through a reset. Something's about to shift in my life. Something's about to change in my life, and I'm about to grow from this situation. And again, I'm not saying it's an easy mindset to have, because, like I said, I still have my moments where it's why me, and oh, here we go again. I have those moments, but I don't allow that become my mindset. I don't allow myself to get stuck in that frame of thinking. You know what I'm saying? Because if I've learned nothing else in these past 2 to 3 years, I've learned that you can grow so much when you learn from your hard times. You can grow so much when you're willing to go through your hard times, when you quit running from the things that you need to face, when you face yourself, when you face your fears, when you face your comfort zone, when you face all of these things that are holding you down. You know what I'm saying? When you have those tough conversations, when you put yourself in uncomfortable places, you grow. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how I look at things now. I look at, these tough times that I'm getting ready to go through. Because sometimes you can see them coming. Sometimes they hit you out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? But the ones that I can see coming, I know. Now, again, like I say, I'm not sitting here. I'm not going to sit here and tell you when I can see, some hard times coming. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't just, oh, here we go. You know what I'm saying? I would be lying to you if I told you that. You know what I'm saying? So I still have those, but I don't stay stuck there. I do the, oh, here we go. And then it's like, you know what? Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm ready to see who I become on the other side of that. I'm ready to see how much I grow, how much more confidence I get, how much more knowledge I get. I'm ready to see who starts to fall away from me. I want to see who gravitates towards me. You know what I'm saying? There's so many shifts and changes that are about to happen through these hard times. And I understand that some of them are going to hurt. Some of them I'm going to love. Some of it is things that I'm going to hate. Some of these things are going to make me completely uncomfortable. And that's a great thing. You know what I'm saying? That's a great place to be in. I think that it's great to be uncomfortable, but I'm going to try to hold that one, you know what I'm saying? Because I want to stay on this. But I do want to get on that. But I know that there are things there's shifts and there's change that's about to happen, and there's going to be things that I hate, things that I love, and but I also know that it's for my good overall. That it'll be for my good, and I'll be a better person because of it. And it's all due to me changing my perspective and me changing the way I look at my hard times and the tough times that I go through, and they're part of my blessings. You know what I'm saying? As crazy as that may sound to some people, that your hard times are a part of your blessings, but you got to understand you learn so much through your hard times. You learn so much through your failures. You learn so much through attempting something and it don't go the way that you wanted to. You learn so much from those things. So, did so embrace them. And I'm not saying go out and make your life as hard as it has to be. But what I'm saying is when those hard times come, because again, I don't care who you are, what you look like, what your status is, hard times come to everybody. When those hard times come, embrace them. Learn whatever it is that you need to learn from these hard times and grow. This is an opportunity to grow. This is an opportunity to get better. This is an opportunity to step up. This is an opportunity to have those shifts and those changes, because maybe you got people in positions they don't need to be in. Maybe you don't have people in positions that they do need to be in. So it's so many things that are going to shift and change through these hard times. But as long as you are embracing it, as long as you are learning from it, you're getting the knowledge that you need, you're understanding it, you know what I'm saying? You'll get better. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it won't hurt. I'm not saying these tough times won't be tough. I'm not saying it'll be easy, but what I am saying is if you handle it the right way, you approach it the right way, you can grow from it and you can benefit from it. You know what I'm saying? You can get rid of some people you need to get rid of. You can add some people you need to add. You can make room for the things that you need to make room for. And it may be things that you don't even know that you need to make room for. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what blessings and beautiful things are on the other side of these hard times? You know what I'm saying? So you got to go through them to get to where you need to be, and to get to the person that you need to be. Hard times are going to help you create the person that you need to be. You got to go through these hard times, and you got to go through those struggles. You got to go through those failures. You got to go through all of that. You know what I'm saying? There's a lesson in everything that you go through, good and bad, but especially bad. There's so many lessons there. But because we get so stuck on, oh, I don't want to go through these hard times, or oh, this isn't fair, or oh, you know what I'm saying? We skipped the lesson. And guess what now? Now we gotta go through and do it all over again, and it'll represent itself in a different way, but it'll be the same thing, but maybe just with different people, maybe in a different situation, then in a different area of your life, but you keep going through it until you learn those lessons. So you know what I'm saying? So that was just the thing that we were talking about, of how we have to stop focusing on the negative and how to stop focusing on how unfair it is, and how you don't deserve these hard times. And it's just like, you do, because you deserve to grow, you deserve to get better, you deserve to get those people who don't need to be in your life out your life. And it's like hard times will do those things for you. Now obviously you have to make sure that you have the right perspective, because you might look at it and be like, oh, that's supposed to be my friend, and they left when times got hard. That's not right. That's not a friend. Or you can look at it, I went through those hard times, and those hard times showed me who really rocking with me. Those hard times showed me who were really there for me. Those hard times showed me who I can count on when I'm down on my luck, or when, what I'm saying, it's not my season. I know who I can lean on. I know who I can go to. You know what I'm saying? And you see how perspective changes that situation. Now because one perspective is going to look at that as a negative, another perspective take the same hard times, you go through those hard times and you lose some people, but one perspective showed you a negative side, the other perspective showed you a positive side. So there's always something to learn in, what I'm saying, in hard times, tough times, and negative situations. There's always something you can learn. There's always a way to grow, if you're willing to take the time to take a step back, take yourself out of your pity, for lack of a better term, take yourself out of your pity and really just look at your situation and assess your situation. You'll see that there's always something to learn. There's always something positive you can take out of those, situations. So that was one of the things that we talked about. The other thing that we talked about is how being And being uncomfortable is a positive thing. Now, again, my whole life has been about, well, most of my life has been about my comfort zone, right? I know I've talked about this on the podcast before. Most of my life, I've lived inside of my comfort zone. Most of my life has been lived inside of my comfort zone. And the few times that I can remember back that I've had to get out of my comfort zone and stay outside of my comfort zone long enough, I've grown. But it hasn't been many of those times because most of the time that I'm outside of my comfort zone, I got to go back. So I've quit those jobs. I've quit school. I've quit those. I've gotten away from those friendships, those relationships, those whatever that's been trying to get me out of my comfort zone because of course you got to tell yourself whatever to make it, what I'm saying, to make it sound good, but I believed it too though. So it wasn't just me making excuses, it was me making excuses that I believed, that I thought were facts. So when you start to meet those people who ask you to do something that you're not used to doing, and or what I'm saying, you tell yourself, oh, you trying to change, man. It's like, no, they're just trying to help you grow. They're trying to help you better yourself. They're trying to help you get to those levels that you want to get to, because what I'm starting to realize now is that those people see something in you that you don't see in yourself. Those people saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. I didn't believe that I could be those things that I wanted to be. I didn't believe that I could be my own boss one day. I wanted to be, that was my goal, but I didn't believe that I could do it. I didn't believe that I could run that business. Well, let me not say that, because I did believe that I could run that business, but I didn't believe that I could build that business from the ground up. I believed that I could run somebody else's business, but I didn't believe that I could go start my business from nothing and make it happen. But there was plenty of people who did believe that about me and saw that in me, and they were trying to help me get there. But because it required me getting out of my comfort zone, I didn't do it. I shied away from it. I shied away from those people. I shied away from those situations. And I didn't understand it at the time. But again, because of everything that I've been through these past 2, 3 years, you start to realize a lot about yourself. So that's when I say you got to have that real look in the mirror, and you got to have that real uncomfortable conversation with yourself and with other people. And that real conversation with myself was realizing how long my comfort zone held me back, or me being in love with my comfort zone held me back, realizing how I've outgrown my comfort zone. I've grown so comfortable in my comfort zone. And the thing about growing comfortable in your comfort zone, the only thing that does is make your comfort zone smaller and smaller, because it's like now you only are comfortable with so few things. So you make it so much smaller, but the world is forever growing and expanding. And so it's like part of you, you want to take that trip, you want to go vacation, you want to go overseas, but it's also your comfort zone is like, no, we ain't got room for that. What room do we have to take a vacation in this comfort zone? If this is my comfort zone, what room do I have? This is all that I have. So what room do I have for those new people who look like they're fun, look like you could get along with them? What room do I have? I don't have any room. I don't have room for that job that might look amazing, but it's new and you've never done it before. Now you got to go learn it. What room do you have to learn all of this? And so it's like that's how the comfort zone works. The more things you want to do, the tighter that comfort zone finna hold on to you, because it's like we don't have room for that. We can't make room for this. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I say being uncomfortable is a beautiful place to be. And I fought that for a good part of my life. So I'm 34. So I would honestly say like maybe 28 years, 26, 28 years, I've lived inside of my comfort zone. So I fought anything that's put me outside of my comfort zone. And that's why I'm so thankful for the past 3 years. A lot of negative things have happened, but I've learned so much and I've gained so much perspective, and I've gained so much love for myself and the people around me and my support and my village over these past 3 years, because I've learned so much off of just changing my perspective and changing my viewpoint and changing, the way I think about certain things. So I've learned more about myself in these 3 years than I have in the past 30 plus years of living. I've learned so much about the way I think in my comfort zone, and I've grown so much in these past 3 years than I have in my 30 something years of living. So when I tell y'all that changing y'all perspective just a little bit, just to start seeing the lesson, even if you can't see the positive, the potential positive that could come from a negative situation, but if you can just take a step back long enough to learn whatever lesson you need to learn as to why you're going through these tough times, I'm telling y'all, it'll help you out so much just to learn the lesson, learn why you're going through these things, because there is a reason. There is something to learn. I promise you there is. You know what I'm saying? And you may not seem like it, because it might be something as crazy as somebody close to you passing away. There might be something there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it's some profound, great lesson. It might be just showing you, wow, this person was here creating this barrier between me and this person. This person, you know what I'm saying, might be a negative, low energy type of person, but I never knew that because this person has been a barrier for me this whole time. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But there's always something beautiful or something, a lesson to be learned in every single situation. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not telling you that that's the reason why the person passed away. I'm just saying that there's something to be learned from that. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can take this and just kind of wallow in, okay, I just lost somebody close to me. Or number one, you can just celebrate their life, celebrate who they were, celebrate the beauty, or, you know what I'm saying, the positive things that they've done for you. And then, you know what I'm saying, figure out a way to get something positive out of it, whether it's starting the foundation in their name, whatever it could be. There's all, like I said, there's always something positive to learn from every single situation. But getting back to, you know, being uncomfortable. And I think that over the past 3 years, that's probably the number two thing that I've learned. Because, like I said, the number one would be, hey, there's something to learn in every single situation, or, you know, there's, you can take a positive out of a lot of negative situations. The number two thing is being uncomfortable is one of the best positions to be in, because now, instead of me associating uncomfortable with, um, what was the word I was going to use? Instead of me associating uncomfortable with, I don't know what I was going to use, fear. Let's just use that. Instead of me associating uncomfortable with fear, I associate discomfort with growth, because I know, okay, I'm getting uncomfortable. I'm getting a little angsty. So I know that something's getting ready to happen, and it may feel negative in the moment, but I also know that there's something that I can learn, and I know that there's an opportunity to grow. I know these things, you know what I'm saying? So again, that's not, like I said, I still don't, that doesn't mean I don't have those moments like, oh, here we go. That doesn't mean I don't have those moments, but what it means is I don't stay there. I understand that there's about to be an opportunity to grow. I may not like how it feels when it starts. I may not like how it feels in the middle of it, but at some point I'll see the opportunity, or I'll see the growth, or I'll see okay, this is what I needed to learn. I needed to go through all of this to learn this, or I needed to go through all of this to remove this person, or I needed to go through all of this because I needed to realize, okay, this person here is an asset, and I didn't know it because I didn't know that they knew this and that. You know what I'm saying? So there's always something. So now, like I said, I associate discomfort with growth instead of associating it with fear and anxiety. Because that used to be it when I was uncomfortable, fear, anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Now that I'm uncomfortable, it's like an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to learn. So that's what we were talking about, because again, I've been through a lot over these past 3 years, but I've grown a lot. And I think in that conversation, that was one of the first times where I really just kind of sat back and really just thought about what were some of the lessons that I've learned over the past 3 years. What are some of my biggest takeaways of the past 3 years of my life and everything that I've been through? And like I said, like I told you, the number one thing is, you know, there's a lesson to be learned in every situation. You can grow from every situation. There's something positive you can take from almost every situation. Number two would just be, you know, the way I view being uncomfortable has flipped on its head. I've done a complete 180. And, and again, like I say, that's not me saying when I'm getting ready to go through some discomfort or I'm in the middle of going through this discomfort. I'm not saying that I don't still have a moment where I'm like, oh, here we go, or man, this ain't fair, or whatever. I'm not saying I don't have those moments where I think that, because I do, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to sit here and make it seem like I don't, because I do, but I also have that thought, there's something that I can learn from this. There's a reason why I'm going through this. So now I do my best to take a step back, do my best to take myself, at least mentally and emotionally, to take myself emotionally, because that's a big one, out of it. So that way I can just view it, take a real good look at it, scan over it, and figure out what are some things that I can take from these situations to help better myself, to help better where I'm trying to go, help me get to my goals and my destinations. What are the things that I can take out of it? And I'm doing a better job of removing myself and removing the emotions from the situation, so I can look calmly, look and scan and figure out, okay, that's something I can take from. That's something I can take from. Oh, I didn't even notice this. This could be a good one. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I learned. And then, like I just said, like my emotions, I'm learning that everything doesn't need a response. I'm learning the power of silence. I'm learning the power of walking away or taking a moment to myself, because I used to feel like, hey, I gotta let you know about yourself, or I gotta let you know that you're wrong in this situation. And it's like, you don't have to, especially to the level that you do it sometimes when your emotions are high and your aggravation is high and your anger is high. You don't always have to. You know what I'm saying? It ain't necessary. The world ain't gonna end. Life goes on. And I had to also realize that it was a pride thing too. Like, I gotta tell you that you're wrong. I gotta let you know why you're wrong. I gotta break down to you why you're wrong. And it's like, no, you ain't gotta do that. It's not necessary. It ain't enhancing your life. And not doing it ain't gonna hurt you. It's not gonna kill you to not respond to every single thing that somebody's done to you. And I've learned how to just stop personalizing everything. Like, everything that somebody does isn't done to me. They might not even be thinking about me when they do it. So I've learned to quit personalizing everything and quit taking everything as an attack or as an insult or as disrespect, because they might not even be thinking about me when they're doing it. You know what I'm saying? They might have other things on their mind. So I've grown a lot, mentally and emotionally, over these past 3 years. And I've taken a lot of things away from everything that I've been through. But like I say, the main things is just changing my perspective on things, and being able to just take myself out of those situations long enough to scan it and see, like, why am I going through this? What do I need to learn? What is God trying to teach me? Like, what are these lessons that I need to learn? Why is this so important? Why does this keep happening to me? You know what I'm saying? So I've learned to start asking those whys, because when I ask the why, then it makes me start looking for whatever it is that I'm looking for. There's something here. There's something going on that I need to figure out. There's people here that I need to reassess. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? And like I say, that's the beauty of these hard times, is because when these hard times come, things are going to start to shift and things are going to start to shake. And those people that ain't solid, they gonna fall through those cracks. It's gonna happen. So you gotta go through these things to get to those points, and you gotta go through it to start to figure out who's who, because anybody can say anything. Anybody can pretend long enough and well enough to present themselves as anything. But when those hard times come, and you got to test it. Now we got to test who you are, because you can look as pretty as you want. You can look up to par. You can look, like you can do the job. But now it's time to show and prove. Now you got to go take these tests. So you know what I'm saying? So, like, you can have them diamonds on it. Them diamonds can look flawless. Them diamonds can look beautiful. But when they get put up against that tester, and now it's time to take that test, now you start to see what's real and what's fake, what can handle it and what can't. You know what I'm saying? Who gonna handle the pressure? Who gonna fold? So you know what I'm saying? You got to go through those times to get to find those things. And so, that's what I'm saying. So even like how I view tough times, it's like I view it as a necessity. I view it as important as Um, man, whatever. As far as your necessities to, your food, your air, your water, your things like that. The tough times, especially when you're on a journey to be successful, you got to go through those tough times because those tough times going to test the people around you. They're going to test you. They're going to show you some things. They're going to show you where you're lacking. They're going to show you where you're good. They're going to show you where you need to do work. They're going to show you things about yourself. They're going to show you holes that you don't even see because they in your blind spot. You know what I'm saying? So it's so many things that you're going to learn through tough times, but you got to be willing to learn them. You can't stay stuck in, oh, why does this always happen to me? And this ain't fair. It's just a part of life. It's a part of things. You're trying to do something great and understand that the journey to greatness is not an easy journey. Because if it was, everybody would be doing it. Everybody would be great. Everybody would be on their greatness journey. Understand that this greatness journey that you on is going to be full of traps, full of potholes, full of tough times, full of all of these things. And you got to go through them because you got to make sure you're prepared, because I'm pretty sure that success ain't an easy thing to deal with. And success has probably folded a lot of people because they didn't go through those tests. They just skipped the line and got to the success and they weren't ready for it. So you got to be ready for the things that you want. And the only way to be ready is to continue to test yourself every step of the way. Every new step that you take, you got to go through that test to make sure that you're ready. You got to make sure that the people around you are still holding solid. You got to make sure that your support team's still doing what doing what they're supposed to be doing, making sure your blind side spots and your blind sides are covered. And the only way to know that is to test it. That's the only way to know it. The best way I can, another good analogy, because I just thought about it with the blind side. When you playing football, if you know anything about football, the quarterback, he got to face a certain way depending on which way. I'm left-handed, so I gotta face a certain way. So I need somebody protecting my right side, because when I'm getting ready and when I'm in position to do what I need to do, I can't look to my right. That's my blind side. I got to make sure that my blind side is good. And the only way to know those things is to test them. I got to hike that ball and I got to be in the middle of my play. And I got to trust that whoever I put in position to protect my blind side is doing their job. And if they don't, I take that sack. I take that loss. I take that L. But now I'm learning, okay, my blind side needs to be better. I either need to put a new person in position or I need to add support to that person or whatever I got going on in that position. But I got to test it. I got to go through those tough times. I had to get sacked to see, okay, my blind side ain't where it needs to be. My blind side support ain't where it needs to be. So that's what I mean when I say you got to go through those tough times, because that's the only way you're going to find out who's who and what's what. You know what I'm saying? As far as what's around you and what you're getting ready to go through. But man, we had a great conversation and it sparked this conversation. It sparked this the idea for today's podcast. So I'm hoping y'all enjoyed it. But man, I just want to say, don't be afraid of those hard times. Embrace those hard times, because there's a reason why you're getting ready to go through these hard times. Understand that you're getting ready to go on whether it's your purpose journey, your greatness journey, whatever it is that you're getting ready to go on. Understand that it's going to be full of hard times. It's going to be full of tough times. It's going to be full of constant change and, you know what I'm saying, things that you got to go through to continue to make sure you have the right people supporting you, to make sure that your blind side is protected, to make sure that you got those real diamonds in your life, so that way when those hard times come, they can be there to support you. They can be there for you to lean on them. You know what I'm saying? So you got to start to separate the real from the fake. So just don't be afraid of those hard times and start to change your perspective. Understand that you need to go through those hard times. Understand that there's a beautiful lesson to be learned in those hard times. And there's always something that you can learn and pick from through any situation that you go through, whether it's good or bad. There's going to always be things to learn from, you know what I'm saying? So even when you have a good situation, there's always something there's something that can be better, you know what I'm saying? So there's always something to learn from any situation. Excuse me. But I want to thank everybody for listening to the podcast on whatever platforms you're listening to me on. And to everybody watching on YouTube, I want to thank y'all. So please continue to watch, like, comment, subscribe, and share the show. And I want to continue growing. And again, thank y'all. I hope that y'all have a blessed day. Oh, and shout out. I know this isn't going to come out on her birthday, but I want to shout out to my mom, send her a special happy birthday. I love you. Thank you for the support. Thank you for everything that you've done for me, for holding me down, supporting me, guiding me, leading me, and just everything that you've done that I don't even know, the things that you might be doing for me behind the scenes, the praying for me every day, all the things that you do for me. I want to say thank you. And I want to tell all of y'all, have a blessed day, have a blessed week, man, and continue to get better and have blessed lives. Have a great day.